I'm Jeremy Wade, angling explorer and biologist. Fishing is my passion.
One of the most extraordinary catches of my life.
Time and again, this passion has helped me solve freshwater mysteries. Some of my most dangerous investigations have unfolded in Australia, where murky rivers hide bizarre and deadly beasts found nowhere else on Earth.
That is huge!
But this time, I'm going beyond the rivers, venturing into the ocean that lies off this vast continent's northern coast.
That beneath me is some of the wildest coastline anywhere on Earth. It's in these waters where more people die from animal attacks than anywhere else on Earth.
This place is known as the deadliest sea on the planet, and I'm here to find out why.
It's not a matter if you could die, you will die.
If you thought the rivers were bad, you haven't seen anything yet. Over the years, I've collected hundreds of reports of mysterious disappearances and attacks from all around the world. But there's one file that's thicker than all the others. All the reports come from the same place, the seas around northern Australia. Take the case some years ago of 5 Aboriginal elders and the pilot of the small plane they were flying in, who found themselves alone in the water, in sight of land, after their plane developed engine problems and was forced to ditch in the sea. All that was ever found of them was one severed leg. What exactly is in these waters that can tear apart 6 fit, capable men? I'm going to try to find out. I'm starting my investigation in northern Australia, in the same waters where the men were reported to have disappeared. There are predators here that simply can't be ignored.
Beaches along a stretch of coast have been closed since yesterday because of a shark attack.
Australia has the highest number of fatal shark attacks in the world.
A father of 2 has died after being savaged by a shark.
But out of the 170 shark species known to patrol these waters, only 3 have the rap sheet for fatal attacks on humans. The great white doesn't venture this far north, and experience tells me that bull sharks are mostly found close to the coast and near river mouths. So I'm starting my investigation with the apex predator in these waters, the tiger shark. I'm joining shark biologist Adam Barnett.
Jeremy, nice to meet you.
I know there are documented attacks on humans by tiger sharks. So what triggers these attacks? And would a group of men in the water be likely targets? I want to know what Adam is learning from his research.
We're not just tagging them anymore, but we're also taking the blood, taking tissue samples. The blood and the tissue will give us an idea of what they've been eating. You know, if different sharks are eating different things, or it's a very generalised diet like we would probably expect from a tiger shark.
By understanding what tiger sharks are eating, I want to build a bigger picture of what they see as prey, and whether that includes us.
All the baits are out. At the moment, they look untouched. You've got a red buoy and also the smaller white buoy. What we're waiting for is the white buoy to disappear, but all quiet at the moment.
Then we get a sign that we're not alone.
That's doing something, isn't it, Adam? What do you reckon?
Oh, yep, yeah, there it goes, it's going under. Tiger on! Tiger on!
As we approach the buoy, I can see an ominous shape beneath the surface.
These are the big.
This is tiger shark, and this is a big one.
Still got a bit of kick in it.
The shark has a lot of energy left, and I struggle to keep control of it.
10 foot plus. We're talking 650, 700 pounds. This is a big animal. This is what's in these waters.
So turn it over.
The problem we've got at the moment is Adam's taken a bit of tissue. That involves some rather delicate surgery with a very sharp scalpel, and you've got an animal that could start thrashing at any moment. So Adam's taking a blood sample from it now.
From these samples, Adam will get a better understanding of what the shark eats.
It's rolling, it's rolling.
The shark is winding itself around the leader wire, dragging our side of the boat down. Then it sinks its teeth into our air-filled boat.
That's got a hole in it.
It's got a hole. Well, the shark has punctured the boat. It's also wrapped in the leader.
With the boat taking in water, we need to unwrap the shark from the leader, and fast.
It's got to come over, that's it.
Let's just get it off and get the boat back.
Okay, right, we've decided we're going to abandon any attempt to get any data from this. We've got the boat going down.
We cut the leader and release the shark.
We have a hole in the boat, and the air has come out and water is going in. We need to get back to the mothership, which is becoming increasingly distant, so priority is us getting out of here.
We limp back to the mothership. I still can't get over the sight of such a huge predator so close. Now, more than ever, I wonder if we humans are on the shark's menu.
Do tiger sharks have preferences in terms of what they feed on then?
I think, they might have evolved to hunt certain things, like turtles seem very, very popular in their diet.
If you had a scenario of a person or people in the water, might they consider that as a food item?
Anything's possible, but in my experience of diving with them, they're very shy animals. We put bait in the water to actually bring them in, and they'll come in, and then we'll get in the water and they'll often leave. Their heads are full of all these sensors, so if they go to feed on something or attack it, they have to be very careful that they don't get damaged as well.
So how do you explain the times when tiger sharks have attacked people? I think there's a clue in what Adam's blood sampling is turning up. He has shown that here turtles are a big part of the tiger shark's diet. When you consider that almost all attacks on people occur 300 feet or less from the shore, where surfers are usually found, could it be that tiger sharks are mistaking the outline of a surfboard for their favourite food? I need to start piecing things together. We'll never know for sure whether tiger sharks attacked the plane crash victims. Tigers are solitary hunters, so a lone shark might have bitten one of these men, but I don't think it's likely that it could have taken them all out. I go back to the case file for clues and find a shocking story with echoes of the case of the missing men. In this new mystery, a man was lost in the open ocean and a severed body part was the only evidence found. But what really gets my attention is where that evidence was found. A worker processing fish in a Queensland factory opened up a large grouper and made a gruesome discovery. When he sliced open its stomach, what he found inside was a human head. I'm investigating the case of a group of men who disappeared in the seas around northern Australia. The only evidence ever found was a severed leg. Now, I've found another case with striking similarities, but this time the evidence is a man's head, and it was found inside the belly of a species of grouper. So sharks aren't the only animals here capable of swallowing pieces of humans. I've come to a remote and uninhabited group of islands 60 miles from the nearest township. This is a scorched and arid place,
The average daily temperature at this time of year is 110. I'm here to track down a Queensland grouper, to see for myself what this animal is capable of. But as we're heading to the fishing grounds, we encounter a situation that stops us in our tracks.
I'm rolling, guys.
We're going to get water out for the guy.
Our cameraman starts recording when we stumble on an incredible scene. A fisherman separated from his boat, shouting for our help. The crew focuses on getting him rehydrated, but keeps rolling as the story unfolds. We just came around the coast. This is an uninhabited island, and we first of all saw a cooler on the rocks, and then one of us said, "There's somebody there. There's somebody there." He immediately came down to the water, and he's yelling out, "You know, give me something to drink. Give me something to drink." Pretty desperate. Actually, got right in the water to come out and meet us. We'll find out very soon what's happened. We saw a cool box on the rock, and then.
No, I came around here. I was up in here, down here, because I seen turtle nests and heaps of empty bottles, so I was hoping that one of the bottles might have a bit of water in it. Didn't see no water in it.
He was separated from his boat 2 days ago and became disoriented. Despite efforts to find his vessel, he was beaten back by the ferocity of the sun. And with every hour that passed, his chances of survival diminished. One more day on the beach, and he would have died. Out here in the Australian high summer, stranded without water or shelter, your survival is limited to 2, maybe 3 days. We make sure that he's well hydrated and send him for medical attention. This is a first for me. In all my travels to remote places, I've found some of the rarest fish on the planet, but I've never rescued someone stranded on a desert island. It's a vivid reminder of how easily life can sometimes be snuffed out. I continue to the fishing grounds to resume my hunt for a giant Queensland grouper. I need to get a line in the water to learn more about its behavior and hunting strategy. Fishing for something this big means I have to place protective tape on my thumb and wear a harness. Anything capable of swallowing a human head is going to be huge. I normally don't like to use live bait, but groupers often bite fish off anglers' lines as they're being reeled in, much to the angler's annoyance. So I'm hoping that by mimicking this scenario, I might get a strike. And it's not long before I get my first. There's a hit, there's a hit, there's a hit. I don't think we go down, and now that's hooked. This feels a bit different. Oh my goodness. This fish feels enormous. It's going down, it's going down, it's going down. And the bandage on my thumb is useless. So much for that plaster, the whole thing just popped off. It's melting my thumb! Without the protective tape, the fast-spinning reel strips off my skin, and the fish is gone. Stuff! I put plaster on my thumb, and it comes off. How one little thing can let you down. I'm using my thumb as a brake, and the plaster just comes off. That's what it does, rips my thumb, and we lose the fish. I'm rapidly finding out that in this heat, it's all too easy to lose your head. I now know there are big fish down there, but any element of surprise I might have had is gone. It's almost like a thief triggering the alarm system. I decide to change up my tactics. It's actually gone very quiet. There's not a lot of interest, well, no interest in the bait, and I'm just thinking, particularly in this water clarity, there have to be fish down there that are aware of it. What I might do, instead of having the bait just hanging around in the target zone, I might just crank it a few feet up just to give the impression of something trying to get out of the danger zone. That could trigger something. Oh, here we go. There's something on there.
There's a massive hit on my bait. I can hear the line straining under the tension.
Oh, that's a bad sound. It's right for the anchor rope. It's a big fish.
If we're going to bring it in, I urgently need to stop the line fouling the anchor chain. But this maneuver risks giving the fish the chance to reach the rocky bottom.
I wonder if we can even get the anchor up and go after it. This is a very big fish, very big fish.
We need to work the fish away from the submerged cliffs and sharp rocks around the island, which could cut the line.
And if you can shout out the depth as well would be great. 5 feet. Great, thank you.
Now we have it in more open water. We stand a chance of landing it. Then it makes a powerful surge for the bottom.
It's going again, I can't believe. You feel you're getting the upper hand. Oh, still haven't even glimpsed it. Heart in mouth. The fish is tiring, it's coming in. So this is when it's time to be careful. We're well clear of the island. We should be well clear of structure. And it's coming up again. Going to see it any moment. I can see it now. There it is.
I don't want to take any chances. In this case, the gaff hook is necessary to hold it securely. Otherwise, we could still lose it.
This is way too big to bring on board. I want to have a closer look at it, and there's a rock ledge. We're going to try and get it on there. Here's a bit better. It's actually clamping down slightly. Get the right... Ah! That's biting my hand.
I'm investigating the disappearance of a group of men in the waters off Australia's wild north coast. The only evidence recovered was one severed leg. I've come to a remote island chain to find out if there's a link between that case and another one that bears disturbing similarities, where the severed head of a man was found inside the belly of a species of grouper. And the fish I've just caught is easily capable of swallowing a human head.
It's actually clamping down slightly. Get the right... Ah! That's biting my hand, and it hurts. It hurts. Oh no, it's on a hook. I'm actually caught on a hook. This could be dangerous, sorry. I'm actually attached by a hook to this fish, which is not a good scenario. There's a hook. Just cut it there, where my finger is. Yes, good. I'm just going to see if I can get a little bit of this out of the water. I don't want to lift it all out, but I can lift it maybe a tiny bit. Ah, that's about as much as I can lift out of the water. Oh.
This grouper is comfortably 6 feet long, and I estimate close to 300 pounds.
There is the mouth. I think I could probably get my head in there if I was so inclined, but I'm not so inclined. That is the last thing that a lot of small fish and not so small fish see. Whether this would actually take a living person in the water, I don't think so. That's not their behaviour. They lurk down pretty deep normally, but they're going for fish. But if there was a corpse on the bottom, this could absolutely seize the head and dismember it. There's somebody's hook here I'm just going to take out.
I removed several hooks and line from old battles. For many other anglers, this was the fish that got away. Incredible as it is to see this fish up close, I can't keep it at the surface for long. Its home is the deep. This is a powerful and intimidating fish, but I don't believe that this is the active killer that would have the instinct to attack a human at the surface. Groupers, like the one I've just caught, wait for their prey near the sea floor, lurking in caves and crevices, ready to ambush using the suction of that huge mouth. The series of events that led to the man's head being found inside one of these fish can only be speculated on. But it's possible to imagine a shark attack sending body parts sinking into the depths to be scavenged by one of these giants of the deep. A case of right place at the right time from the fish's point of view. and an easy meal. The group are ensuring that normally no evidence is found. What does this tell me about the missing men? I still need to establish exactly what caused them to disappear. But one thing the water off northern Australia isn't short of is suspects. I go back to the only piece of evidence in this case, a severed leg washed up on a remote uninhabited island not far from where the men ditched into the sea. I know from experience that bite marks can be clues. The forensic photographs didn't show the classic curved signature of a shark bite. So what did this? I know of only one other predator in this region capable of dismembering human bodies. I'm meeting biologist Dr. Adam Britton, who has spent his life researching saltwater crocodiles, the largest and most aggressive reptile on Earth. He's invited me to join a night hunt, so I can get a first-hand look at this reptile's weaponry and find out if the plane crash survivors could have fallen victim to a crocodile at sea.
Do they ever go out into more open ocean?
Salties have got the ability to tolerate salinity a lot better than a lot of other crocodile species. So that gives them the ability to be able to move down to the river estuary and even around the coastline. And in effect, the ocean for them, or the coastline in particular, it's like a highway. They'll use it to get from one river system to the next river system. So if they encounter someone on the beach, for example, they might try an attack on that person. They're so adaptable. It's one of the things that makes them so dangerous.
I need to see a saltwater crocodile for myself. We head to the Adelaide River, a huge estuarine system. We position ourselves only a few miles from the ocean, where Adam knows there'll be concentrated numbers of crocodiles. I quickly get a sense of the size of the population here. I see dozens of crocodiles slip into the water as we move past. Adam has learned that the best way to get close to them is under cover of darkness.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to use the reflective layer on the back of the crocodile's eyes to see the eye shot. And so we'll be able to see a lot more crocodiles than we saw during the daytime. So they'll just see this big bright light coming towards them, and that'll enable us to get really, really close and hopefully to catch them. This is a harpoon head. So you've got these 4 barbs here, and it's designed to go through the skin, through the top layer of the skin, and then hook onto the skin. So this is the reel, and then it's just like playing a big fish. It's exactly the same.
This harpoon looks deadly, but the head is designed to detach from the pole and hook in just under the hide with minimal harm to the crocodile. It's the most effective way of bringing one in. At first, the crocs we see are on the mud banks and out of our range. Then, one makes a run for the river. The strongest bite force ever recorded belonged to a saltwater crocodile. But what creature had the strongest bite of all time? The answer after this. I asked, what creature had the strongest bite of all time? The answer is the Megalodon Shark. The Salty's bite force is similar to that of a T-Rex, but the now extinct Megalodon Shark is thought to have had 5 times the bite force of both. Its jaws could have crushed a car. I'm on the search for what might have caused the deaths of a group of men alone in the open ocean after their plane ditched into the sea. I've joined a biologist on a night hunt for Australia's living dinosaurs, deadly saltwater crocodiles. The Harpoon Head holds.
Okay, just untie the harpoon line. Good shot, Jeremy.
Now I have to reel it in.
Yeah, keep going back, keep going back, keep going back, keep going back. Bit more, bit more, bit more.
The harpoon is designed to only penetrate its hide.
There he is, there he is, there he is. Okay. Oh, it's rolling, 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 rolling. Okay, a bit too much.
Eventually, the crocodile tires, and we're able to bring it alongside the boat.
We have the crocodile secure. The harpoon line is still in, but that's not needed now. We've got a really good lasso on the upper jaw. The main thing is the jaws are still open.
Although salties have incredibly strong muscles to snap those jaws shut, the muscles to open them are relatively weak. But even so, we can't take any chances.
Okay, I'm happy with that. Yeah, that's pretty good. Go for it. Okay, now sit down on the back of it. Sit down.
We carefully remove the barbed harpoon. The thick, leathery skin will heal quickly. Adam collects the data on this crocodile. First, he measures it.
Just over 8 feet.
Just over 8 feet.
And clips one of the scales on its tail to identify it. There's no polite way of sexing the animal.
I can, but nothing more substantial.
This is a female.
Sorry about that.
So around that way.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, over.
As soon as she opens her mouth, there you go.
Gone. That's a new type of fishing for me. Actually on a line. Okay, harpooned rather than hooked, but I think the main thing for me is just how many there are in this bit of water.
They've clearly got the power to kill a man, but something doesn't add up. Saltwater crocodiles are mainly found in estuaries or skirting the coast to travel between rivers. They rarely venture out to open ocean. The chance of the plane crash victims encountering a lone rogue crocodile is slim. So what other killers are in this sea? I get hold of John Anderson, a journalist who looked into this story, to see if I can glean any new details. What can you tell me about the case?
They took off from Mornington Island. They hit severe weather and something happened.
Did the search recover anything?
A search party was able to trace some of the victims to a small uninhabited island, and footprints were found.
Footprints?
There were some footprints found and the limb, but nothing else was found of the occupants of that aeroplane.
Until now, I'd been working on the premise that these men had perished in open water. I'd never considered that one or more of them might have run the gauntlet of the ocean and made it to the beach. This new knowledge means I've been looking in the wrong place. At least some of these men perished on land. That leg didn't wash up on the beach. It was left there.
I've read transcripts of the interviews with the people who knew them, and they all say that with their experience of the country, they should have survived on that beach.
There's nothing on land in Australia other than crocodiles capable of devouring these men. But I don't think crocodiles are the whole story. I suspect something else might have played a role here. 4 of the survivors were Aboriginal elders. They knew this land and its dangers. I'm hoping some of the fishermen in this remote Aboriginal community can help me understand what could have happened. They mention a fish that I've never encountered before.
Stonefish.
Stonefish.
You can hardly see him because he's just like the stone. See, like he's the image of the stone. You can't see the stonefish.
Right.
You probably stand on it. You get poison in him too.
Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah.
You have?
Painful. Put your nostril. Put your drips for a while, a couple of weeks. If you get better.
Yeah. So you?
Yeah, I got stand under my feet. The same thing.
And you said hospital for a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Is that pain just in your foot, or does it go?
Right up.
Yeah.
The fisherman tells me I can find them in pools along this beach. The stonefish's camouflage makes it almost impossible to spot. hiding in and among the rock pools at the shoreline.
I actually pride myself in being able to see things in the water, but this is taking that to a whole other level. There's something here which looks like a rock, but it's not a rock.
This is the most venomous fish on Earth. When disturbed, it can inject lethal neurotoxic venom. I know this fish is deadly, but I can't resist taking a closer look. I'm investigating the deaths of a group of men in northern Australia. I now know that at least some of the victims made it to shore, and I suspect crocodiles ultimately disposed of them. But I think something else might have played a role here.
There it is. Not a stone, but a stone fish. What an amazing beast. It really does look like a piece of rock. This is camouflage taken to the nth degree.
What makes stonefish even more dangerous is that they can quite happily stay out of water for up to 24 hours, making them all too easy to step on when the tide retreats. And it's the spines on their back that deliver the deadly venom.
It's actually got 13 of these dorsal spines, and each one is basically a hypodermic, and just a little way back from the point is that's where the venom is. And what happens is if you tread on one of these, it's your body weight that injects that. Let's just see what this thing can do. Found that on the beach. This is the kind of thing I often wear. Put these on for eye protection, and what happens? Did you see that?
It's only when the footage is slowed down that you can see the amount of venom that's delivered by one single spine.
Now, if you trod on that, that venom would go into your bloodstream, and as well as being very painful, I mean, if you've got people with you, they're going to need to look after you.
I'm discovering that making it to shore here can be an even deadlier proposition than being lost at sea.
One possible scenario, who knows, maybe one of those survivors stepped on one of these and that just took everybody's concentration. They're dealing with that person, and then events just went on from there.
Even if one of the survivors stepped on a stonefish, that still leaves 4 men alive. But North Australia's oceans harbour one more killer, and this one could have taken out the entire group. The box jellyfish is the most venomous creature on Earth. Within its deadly tentacles is a toxin powerful enough to kill a man in under 2 minutes, several times over. Did the men, believing they had reached safety, stumble into this near-invisible killer? I check the date that the incident occurred and discover that November coincides with the start of box jellyfish season.
I'm on my way to meet somebody who has made it his life's work to understand these near-invisible killers, particularly how their toxin works on humans. Now, he knows better than most what this actually feels like, because he was once stung on the face and hospitalized for 50 hours. Dr. Seymour, I presume?
It is indeed. Thanks, buddy.
Dr. Jamie Seymour has spent 20 years researching box jellyfish, attempting to understand their behaviour and how their complex venom works. To make anti-venom, he has to collect live samples. It's risky work in 100+ degree heat, handling the planet's deadliest creature. I've never seen a box jellyfish, so I've agreed to help him collect samples from these ghostly killers for the anti-venom lab. What makes them so dangerous to man are their tentacles. An adult box jellyfish can grow up to 40 of them, and each one contains around 5,000 stinging cells. That makes 200,000 deadly points of contact. They can sense when they touch something living, and that triggers thousands of tiny darts. The toxin then enters the blood. It takes only 6 to 7 feet of a single tentacle to kill an adult human. My wetsuit should act as a barrier.
This water might look quite inviting, but Jamie tells me that just this little bit of beach here, there could be hundreds of box jellyfish, and getting in without due precaution and due vigilance would actually be, verging on insanity even.
So what you're looking for is, it's a little hard to explain it, but a transparent jellyfish with a set of tentacles.
Right.
There's one right there.
So it's just a sort of a fuzzy white, but that purple is quite...
The purple's a dead set giveaway, but not all the animals have purple tentacles.
Yeah.
Another one out here.
Yep.
Another one there.
I'm just thinking, you could come down here, hot day, let's just splash through the water, cool off, and you could die, couldn't you? Just need to eat water.
Look, it's in these sorts of conditions, it's not a matter if you could die, it's you will die. I mean, if you're swimming in here and you didn't know what was going on, yeah, you'd die. It's as simple as that.
We're on the lookout for bigger specimens. Jamie needs fully grown adults to harvest their venom.
The main reason we're here is to collect venom. What happens is you grab the animal, you pick it up, you cut the tentacles off, so we'll cut about half of the tentacles off, and then we can take the tentacles back to the lab and extract the venom. Now what you need to remember is these guys will grow the tentacles back somewhere between half to an inch in length a day. So cutting off half the tentacles is not really a major issue for these animals. They grow them back very, very quickly.
Jamie has learned that it is possible to gently grasp the jellyfish by its body without being stung. He tells me that to do this you need the sensitivity and feel that can only be achieved by using bare hands.
Oh, what's that, right in the...
Yeah, that's a beauty, actually. That's a cracker. Righto. And you see, so we're literally in sort of knee-deep water here, and it's almost impossible to see now. You want to be in front of the animal?
Yes.
It's going to take 2 hands.
Yes.
And it'll be a lot heavier than you think.
Right, okay.
It's now or never. Time to commit. I'm in northern Australia, attempting to find out what happened to a group of Aboriginal elders who found themselves alone in the water after their plane ditched at sea. And I'm closing in on a killer, the deadly box jellyfish.
Wait a minute. That touched something. Yeah, there's tentacle all over the bell there. Yep. All over the bell.
After only the briefest of touches, it feels like my skin is on fire. And that was with less than 1/10 of an inch of contact.
Yes, it's starting to burn. It's starting to burn. It's dialing up a little bit.
Yeah. Imagine 6 or 7 feet worth of that. I mean, you probably got 1/4 of an inch maybe.
Yes.
So, you know, dial it up a heck of a lot and you start to get some indication of the pain that goes with it. Now, for me, I'd let that animal go.
Let it go.
We'll look for another one because now it's got tentacles and things around its bell. You can't pick it up by that top end.
No. Okay, so leave that one. One element of this is the pure sort of technical thing about picking it up, but the other thing that's there in the back of your mind, which it's got to stay there, but it mustn't take over everything else, is just how dangerous these things potentially are. And it's, you know, there's crocs here, it's very slippery underfoot, there's mozzies buzzing around, it's you know, staying focused, and the heat as well, staying focused, it's a lot to, don't know.
I'm starting to think that I might not be up to the job, but I'm determined to try one more time. This is now personal.
That one looked, as we got over it, it looked a bit bigger actually. Okay, it's more or less in a good position, isn't it?
This is a good one, yep.
Done it.
I've finally overcome my fear. Now I can get a good look at this deadliest of all killers.
It's strange. It doesn't look alive, but it feels alive, but in a very weird way.
That size animal's probably got 7 to 8 tentacles on each corner of the belt. You only need 6 or 7 feet long in an adult to kill somebody. That animal has potential to kill 50 people in under 2 minutes.
We collect several more large specimens and harvest their venomous tentacles for making antivenom back at the lab.
I still can't compute the deadliness of the venom of this thing. I mean, this is quite a big animal, and this would kill several people, and in a very, very short time.
So what happened to the plane crash victims? Since I believe they made it to the beach, they could have been devoured by crocodiles. But it's possible these ghostly creatures are what brought them down. In the final analysis, of course, we'll never know.
What is it about the water here that makes it so dangerous? For a start, the water is very warm, so it's unusually productive. And this means that the apex predators can grow to gigantic sizes with massive mouths and powerful jaws. For me, it's the combination of biochemical weapons, the development of super powerful venom, with near invisibility, surely the ultimate in camouflage, that is the really scary thing.
I'm joining shark biologist Adam Barnett. I know there are documented attacks on humans by tiger sharks. So what triggers these attacks? And would a group of men in the water be likely targets? I want to know what Adam is learning from his research.
What are you building in terms of tiger sharks?
We're not just tagging them anymore, but we're also taking the blood, taking tissue samples. The blood and the tissue will give us an idea of what they've been eating. You know, if different sharks are eating different things, or it's a very generalised diet like we would probably expect from a tiger shark.
Are they pretty widespread along this coast?
There's been quite a bit of tiger shark research done. The biggest pattern we're probably getting at the moment is that there is no pattern.
The thing about joining these science trips is I get to learn my place in the food chain.
The next task is to set the baits. We set each one about 1/4 mile from the last, and far enough away from the mothership not to spook the sharks.
Each baited hook will be suspended 10 feet below a buoy. All the baits are out. At the moment, they look untouched. You've got a red buoy and also the smaller white buoy. What we're waiting for is the white buoy to disappear, but all quiet at the moment. Now, more than ever, I wonder if we humans are on the shark's menu.
If you had a scenario of a person or people in the water, are they going to be curious about that, or are they going to stay back, do you think? Or might they consider that as a food item?
Anything's possible, but in my experience of diving with them, they're very shy animals. We put bait in the water to actually bring them in, and they'll come in, and then we'll get in the water and they'll often leave.
I suppose any creature in the water, there's this sort of tension between hunger and fear, isn't it? From what you're saying, it sounds like they sort of err on the side of hanging away from anything that's moving.
Their heads are full of all these sensors, so if they go to feed on something or attack it, they have to be very careful that they don't get damaged as well. But there is some natural instincts within the species, but there is some individual differences as well. So maybe there is some shark that's more prone to biting somebody, but but then maybe there's others that are totally more placid. This is sort of more research we need to find out.
So how do you explain the times when tiger sharks have attacked people? I think there's a clue in what Adam's blood sampling is turning up. He has shown that here turtles are a big part of the tiger shark's diet. Factory opened up a large grouper and made a gruesome discovery. When he sliced open its stomach, what he found inside was a human head. I've encountered groupers before. I know how powerful they are. I've heard stories of them charging at divers, and I know they can be aggressive when cornered or defending territory. But I've never heard of behavior like this, actually devouring part of a human. I've come to a remote and uninhabited group of islands 60 miles from the nearest township. This is a scorched and arid place. The average daily temperature at this time of year is 110. I normally don't like to use live bait, but groupers often bite fish off anglers' lines as they're being reeled in, much to the angler's annoyance. So I'm hoping that by mimicking this scenario, I might get a strike. It's not long before something down there shows interest. Here we go. Let it go, let it go, let it go, let it go. Yes! Ah! Something that felt like a line. That felt like the line going. Let's have a look. No, that's not good. That's not good at all. Looks like the line is actually cut. So I'm imagining possibly the fish just feeling something in its mouth, rubbed along a rock and actually cut that. It's quite big, whatever it was. It's not a good sign, losing the fish so quickly. It might be the only opportunity I get. Groupers are intelligent creatures. They may now sense that something is wrong and avoid my bait. This feels like a powerful fish. It is the species I'm looking for, but it's only a juvenile. Small by grouper standards. Here it is. I'm struggling with this fish a little bit. This is a small one. This is a small Queensland groper. What I want to try and do now is just look at the business end, because the thing about these, it's all about the mouth. Huge mouth. And what that does when that opens quickly, that creates an inrush of water. So it doesn't actually pounce on the prey. The prey just irresistibly gets sucked into that huge mouth. Normally I put fish back fairly carefully. This is a robust fish, also it's quite a high-sided boat. I'm just gonna stand up and drop it in the water, and I'm sure it'll swim off very happily. Oh. A warm-up act, shall we say. Now, it's a case of seeing who has more guile, me or the fish. And I don't have long to wait. There's a hit, there's a hit, there's a hit. I'm letting it go down, and now that's hooked. This feels a bit different. Oh my goodness. This fish feels enormous. The forensic photographs didn't show the classic curved signature of a shark bite. So what did this? I know of only one other predator in this region capable of dismembering human bodies. Aboriginal hunters have documented the animals they encountered over generations. They have hunted on this land for tens of thousands of years, and traces of their long history can be found in paintings on the walls of hidden sacred rock sites. There are paintings here dating back 30,000 years. I find evidence of predators and millennia-old attacks on humans. Wherever I go, I come across stories, and this picture is actually telling a story. This is very clearly a crocodile, and it's got hold of this woman here, and the fact that her head is pointing downwards apparently signifies that she's dead. So crocodiles attacking people is not something new that's happening here. I'm meeting biologist Dr. Adam Britton. Invited me to join a night hunt so I can get a first-hand look at this reptile's weaponry and find out if the plane crash survivors could have fallen victim to a crocodile at sea. How much of a danger are they to people?
Most of the time, salters are generally going for smaller prey, but they have the strength and they have the ability to be able to take much larger prey. So really, I mean, even an adult human is a piece of cake.
Do they ever go out into more open ocean?
For a crocodile, going out into the open ocean it's not a particularly pleasant environment to be in. But crocodiles that are found there generally are found there because they have no choice. And in fact, often it's these crocodiles that are the ones that are moving around, that are looking for a new place to live, that actually become the most dangerous, because they're desperate crocodiles. And they're crocs without a home, and if an opportunity arises, then they'll take it.
I need to see a saltwater crocodile for myself. This harpoon looks deadly, but the head is designed to detach from the pole and hook in just under the hide with minimal harm to the crocodile. It's the most effective way of bringing one in. At first, the crocs we see are on the mud banks and out of our range.
But then I see telltale eyes reflecting back from the water and instinctively throw my harpoon.
So that was one hit. Actually harpooned it successfully, but it took the line straight through a bankside branch. And the trouble is with that, you know, as with fishing, you know, you are then. I was holding a bit too tight. I mean, basically, you want it out in open water so you can control it, so it's pulling the boat. But we have to get it disentangled from here, and yeah. So it's chalk that one up to experience.
We lose the croc, but it's not long before I catch sight of another one, which makes a run for the river. The harpoon head holds.
Okay, just untie the harpoon line. So, as soon as she opens her mouth, there you go.
Gone. That's a new type of fishing for me. Actually on a line, okay, harpooned rather than hooked. But I think the main thing for me is just how many there are in this bit of water. Well, this is Adam's place. He tells me that he's got a crocodile somewhere here in his backyard, which is what he refers to. It used to be a problem animal, and he seems to be rather keen for me to have a look at it.
Hi, Jeremy.
Right.
How's it going?
You said that he is or was a problem croc. I mean, what's problematical about him?
Yeah, he was being very aggressive. He was causing safety issues for people. So they felt that it was safer to take him out and bring him into captivity.
I try to mentally prepare myself to get in the pool with a large problem crocodile. The only thing separating me from it will be some wire fencing. Smorg, a 25-year-old, 16.5-foot adult male, is immediately alerted to my presence in the water. And within seconds, we are face to face. This is a very different proposition to the crocodile last night. Smorg is around twice the length and weighs in at around 2,000 pounds, nearly a ton. Knowing the power and strength of this living killing machine, it's horrifying and compelling at the same time. That was actually a very strange experience indeed, because I'm realising now, as I sort of replay it, that I'm reacting to the situation in two completely different ways. As that my rational mind, fully aware that there's a metal grill there which is keeping me safe, but there's another more sort of ancient part of my mind just looking into those teeth and just knowing that I'm going to die. And of course, if that protection wasn't there, then absolutely, you know, no chance whatsoever of surviving such a close encounter. So it's you know, my head is a bit sort of confused at the moment. I'm going to need to need a little time to process that properly. So what does that tell me about saltwater crocodiles? Well, everything that Adam was saying yesterday about their adaptability, their patience, their reptilian intelligence, but you know, there's one other factor. The big factor is their sheer size. Monster is a rather overused word, but absolutely appropriate in this case. The fact that they are in this warm water that's full of food, they're very, very long-lived, what that means is that they can grow to monstrous proportions. If they only grew to a few feet, you know, they would not be of any bother to people at all, but something that size, what are we talking, over 16 foot long, you know, you drop in the water anywhere near one of those that's hungry, which is probably going to be most of the time, and you know, you're not going to come back on dry land again.
But something doesn't add up. Saltwater crocodiles are mainly found in estuaries or skirting the coast to travel between rivers. They rarely venture out to open ocean. I know this fish is deadly, but I can't resist taking a closer look. There it is. Not a stone, but a stone fish. Even if one of the survivors stepped on a stonefish, that still leaves 4 men alive. But North Australia's oceans harbour one more killer, and this one could have taken out the entire group. In 2013, a vacationing couple were enjoying a snorkel among the reefs and coral. Suddenly, they were both attacked simultaneously by something invisible in the water. The first anyone knew that something was wrong was when they saw the woman's lifeless body floating on the surface.
When her body was recovered, it wasn't bite marks they found, but extensive blistering in the forms of linear welts across her body. And this is precisely the hallmark of the most venomous creature on Earth, the box jellyfish.
Did the men, believing they had reached safety, stumble into this near-invisible killer? I check the date that the incident occurred and discover that November coincides with the start of box jellyfish season. Wait a minute. That touched something. Yeah, there's tentacles all over the bell there. Yep. All over the bell. We collect several more large specimens and harvest their venomous tentacles for making antivenom back at the lab. I still can't compute the deadliness of the venom of this thing. I mean, this is quite a big animal, and this would kill several people, and in a very, very short time. Having now felt what one of these things is like, okay, that was the very mild end of the spectrum, but that burnt. But making the sort of the conceptual jump between that and somebody dead, how does the venom actually work?
Well, you've got to remember first up that the venom is a component of several different things. So what you got was the localised pain, which was destruction of cells. So nerve pain there at that point. What will also have happened is another component will have been deposited directly into your circulatory system, in other words, your veins and arteries, and that would have gone straight to your heart. A big box jellyfish, you stung, it hurts immediately. It's like a red hot knife dragged across your skin. So 0 being no pain, 10 the worst you can imagine. My last trip, I had it about 14. And if someone had handed me a loaded gun, I was off the planet. It's this pain, it comes in and you get it under control and then it goes up a level. And you get that under control and it goes up another level. And it just gets worse and worse and worse.
So what happened to the plane crash victims? Since I believe they made it to the beach, they could have been devoured by crocodiles. But it's possible these ghostly creatures are what brought them down. In the final analysis, of course, we'll never know.